Welcome back, everyone. I have the joy and honor of introducing our next set of speakers and the joy and honor of working with them. We are entering into our last session, session 6. This session is titled Strategies for Identifying and Interrupting the Impact of Trauma in Caseworkers and Managers. And when Nicole and I were discussing this session, she asked me to do an introduction to discuss why we wanted to include this session in the meeting. And so I'm going to open up with talking a little bit about that. You know, between the COVID pandemic, the shelter in place, the wildfires in California and in the Pacific Northwest, and the subsequent economic, psychological, and emotional impacts of these events, we've all endured a lot of suffering and stress over the last several months, as Dr. Jeannie Cowan discussed in the last session. This suffering and stress has been compounded in tribal communities where members have experienced disproportionate rates of COVID infection, isolation, economic fragility, and intense stress. For those providing frontline services in tribal communities, the stress and despair have been unrelenting. In conversations we've had with many of you over the last 9 to 10 months, we've heard an ongoing theme of deep concern about the impact that the sustained stress, trauma, and despair has had on you and your direct service staff. And you've requested ways in which you can help support them and prevent staff burnout. So we're presenting this session in response to the concerns that you have communicated to us in hopes that it will provide you with some actionable strategies and resources you can use to address and prevent burnout among your staff and the larger community. One of the primary tenets of this session is on fostering resiliency, which is a characteristic that, that all communities possess, but especially tribal communities. It's an innate characteristic and foundation of tribal nations and communities, and we hope you'll walk away with some tools, resources, and a refreshed perspective on how to foster and grow the resiliency that already exists in your communities, in your teams, in your organizations. We hope that you can grow this into something broader that will help prevent burnout and support thriving in your communities. So I have the great joy to introduce Dr. Nicole Bossard, aka DJ Positive Light and Joy. That's what I like to call her, who will be co-leading this session. Dr. Nicole is a dynamic systems change and organizational leadership expert. She's equipped with a PhD in organizational leadership and change. She helps organizations and communities unlock the collective wisdom within teams, identify their unique core strengths, and engage the whole system in developing innovative strategies they're proud of. Her clients report restored enthusiasm and passion for their work, renewed trust between staff, stakeholders, and partners, and improved clarity about what's now, what's next, and inspired action steps forward. Dr. Bossard brings over 20 years of experience as a consultant, facilitator, and positivity strategist focused on leadership and organization, and she is an utter joy to work with. So I'd like to pass the mic to Dr. Nicole.
Hello, hello, hello. I would have changed my name on my little tile here to DJ Doc if I had time, but I was kind of my fingers flying and all over the place as we get ready for liftoff. So I'm going to ask a couple of quick things. I know we're coming in on the tail end of a meeting at the end of what has been, by all accounts, a very eventful learning time for you all. So let me ask you to do this. If I could beg your pardon, please put your cameras on, keep your mics off for the moment. As we're going through the next hour or so, it might be beneficial once Dr. Barb starts her presentation to click that speaker view so that you'll be able to see the slides best. But otherwise, stay in gallery view so you can see who we're talking to and who we're talking with. I want to just do kind of make one quick thing here available to you. For those of you, give me a thumbs up in your screen if you were able to receive that Never Fear It's Almost Here prep email, which contained access to the PowerPoint, which contained access to the Resilience Care package that Dr. Barb and I have put together for you, which is a list of free resources that you can utilize to help you cultivate your own practice of not just stress management, but as Julie said, resilience. So I want to make sure, and if you didn't get it, no worries. As a follow-up to the meeting, we'll make sure that that information is accessible and available to you as quickly as possible. So with that, let me just say this. One of the reasons that we're here is because I stand on grounds of our ancestors. And in particular, for those of you, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore City specifically. And I might get the pronunciation wrong, but I'm going to do my best. I'm standing on land here in Baltimore City that is the ancestral homeland of the Piscataway peoples here in Baltimore City. And I'm a woman of spirit, and I'm a woman who believes in my ancestors. I stand on their shoulders, and their blood is what enlivens me and pumps through my veins and allows me to be here with you. And it is my sincere hope that we deliver some information that will be food for your soul and that will give you some additional energy to continue to do the work that you have called to, that you've been called to do, and you have answered that call. So I just want to acknowledge our ancestors. I want to acknowledge the land that I'm standing on, and the people who have tended it, and the people who are still here, and the folks that have allowed me to be here. So I want to say thank you to my ancestors. Thank you, Julie, and all of OFA, and for all of our partners who are here and inviting this conversation and frankly this healing, because we need it. We need it. So to kick us off, here's where I'd like us to begin. One of the reasons that we're having this conversation, and Dr. Julie just set us up so beautifully. One of the final comments that she made with us in that previous session was, you know what, as we talk about really delivering services in such a high stress environment, we got to keep in mind how we prop each other up. So we want to do that right now. The reason why I wanted you to have your cameras on, we're going to put you in some breakout rooms. Now, what I promised you in that email, whether you saw it yet or you didn't, I promised you that we were going to bring it. We were not going to have you be at the end of this meeting, having been in a Zoom room for 3 days, and put you to sleep. This is not nap time. So what I want to do is to have you listen in a certain way as we proceed forward. So let me do this. If you have an ink pen, can you put it in your camera for me just to let us know that you are ready to rock? Fantastic. If you've got something to write on, a tablet, whatever you're doing, just kind of let me get a good look at that if you would. Fantastic. Thank you, Lizzie. I appreciate it. Fong. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Monica, for letting me know I'm not talking to the air. Here's what I want you to write down. Interrupting the impact. And then right next to it, I want you to write building resilience. Interrupting the impact, building resilience. For the next hour or so, I don't want you to get hyper-focused on just one or the other side of this conversation. We're going to have a holistic conversation with you, and it starts right now. Now, right under that little headline, I want you to write three things. Remember, I said I wanted you to listen in a certain way. Here's what I want you to be listening for. What inspired me, or inspires, let's keep it present tense. What inspires me? What energizes me? What illuminates my thinking? What soothes or solves an issue? So what inspires, energizes, enlightens, or soothes or solves an issue for me. Here's what Dr. Barb and I want to do. We want to start off by having you have a conversation first with yourself and then with a couple of other people. So I want you to be thinking about, why is it deeply meaningful for you to be in this conversation about interrupting the impact of trauma and building resilience? Why is it important for you, the team that you're a part of, the agency where you work, and the community that you serve? So why is it important for you to be in this conversation today for yourself, your team, your program, and the community you serve? So the learning starts now. So in a minute or so, the magic blue button is going to appear. We're going to send you in groups of 3. Some of you might land with 4 people. You'll have 2 minutes each. I am talking to my kindred. This is not your Video Music Awards acceptance speech. It's literally 2 minutes or less. And then you switch to the other person, okay? And responding to those questions, got it? And you want to get through as many as you can, but you want to make sure that you switch in a minute or 2 because time is tight. Keep it at a minute or 2. Give me a thumbs up in the camera if that makes sense and you're clear. Fantastic. Okay, everybody, rub your hands together. Give us some magic. Give us some energy. That's the only way these blue buttons actually work. This is our Joyabolical plan. Steve, make it happen. On 3, everybody send that good energy to Steve. 1, 2, 3. Give it to us, Steve. Hit that blue button when you see it. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Good to see you all. If you could let me know as you land back here in the main virtual ballroom, here's what I'd love to do. If I could have 1, 2, 3 of you give me a rapid share. What is it? Why is it meaningful for you to be in this conversation about interrupting the impact of trauma and building resilience? Why is it important for you, your team, or your program? You don't have to respond to all 3. You can choose 1 for the point of this rapid share. Everybody else, if you could post up in the chat, this is why I am here, ... This is important to me because ... So if I could get 1 or 2 of you to let me know why you're here. Let's just fill up the room with some anchoring for the moment. Don't forget to turn your camera back on as you come in. And because we have so many people, if you would like to share, just unmute yourself. I don't know if you can actually. So let me have you, can you unmute, Steve?
Folks can request in the chat to be unmuted and Steve can unmute them.
Okay, cool. So can I get 2 people? This could be federal staff. This could be tribal frontline staff. This is a conversation. We are all in this resilience building community together.
Hello, this is Alma Reaver. What I shared and also what I heard from my team was the need. What keeps us going is the need to provide services for all our clients and for not only for our clients, but also for our people. And so that was really important. And I heard that continuously from us all.
Excellent. Excellent. Don't forget, note in the chat, why is it that you're here? And you can answer that question at any level. Why is it important for you to be here? Thank you, Tiffany. I got you. Yes, this work is important to me because the world needs to heal. Yes. Can I get 1 more person to shout it out for me? And again, this could be someone from OFA. If you would like to speak, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll ask Steve to unmute you. Misty, thank you. I'm here to learn innovative approaches to the challenges of today. Yes, we got something for you. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I love it, Don. Come on, bring it, man. Come on, listen. We even got the tech people saying, I love being in here because I love seeing the inspiration overflowing. That, Don, that's not exactly what you typed, but I put a little extra, put a little thing on there. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's get ready to go to it. So I want to introduce not only my colleague, but a dear friend of mine. We've worked together for a long time. And very briefly, because of time, I'm not going to read through her entire bio because you all have that information, but there's something that I want to point out. Barbara's a veteran child protection social worker, 30 years in. So she understands about stress and trauma and how it can impact not only the families we serve, but who's doing the serving. In addition, she's also a trauma researcher with 20+ years in on really investigating how it is that we interrupt and then what are the solutions we can put around that so that people can heal. And the third and most important piece that I want you to know about Dr. Barb as a researcher and as a leading scholar in this field of trauma, She has an uncommon humility, and she understands the value of people learning from each other and not just the sage from the stage phenomenon. So what she's put together for you, I think, will give you some of those innovative tools that you're looking for, and frankly, provide a space for you, not just to put some and wrap around some of those practices for yourself, but here's my joyabolical plan. Give me the joyabolical look. Here's my joyabolical plan, you guys, that you're able to walk away with not just a sense of a plan, but a sense of community, that we're resilience building network. And we're here, just as Dr. Jeannie said, to lift each other up. So with that, don't forget you're listening for what energizes me, what inspires me, what soothes, solves a problem, what illuminates or brightens my thinking, so that you can build that toolkit for yourself and the people around you. So Dr. Barb, I am going to put it on mute and let you go. Hit it.
Thank you, Dr. Joy DJ. I am so happy to be here today, and I'm honored to be here today. Before I start, I do want you to know that here at Indiana University, we, before we start every single meeting, we acknowledge and honor the ancestral homelands and resources upon which our university is built. So today I wish to honor and acknowledge the Miami, the Delaware, the Potawatomi, and the Shawnee people whose ancestral homelands I sit today. Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide. There we go. Okay, so by the end of today, I'm hoping that you can understand the difference between like chronic stress, secondary stress, stuff like that, understanding what emotional labor is, understanding secondary resilience, what's happening in that brain of yours and the brains of your teammates. Understanding that there are individual, team, and organizational symptoms of trauma and strategies at each level to help us. So next slide, please. Thank you. So stress is not all bad. Stress helps you in many ways. When you're cut off on the freeway, and your heart rate increases and you automatically, without even thinking, jam on the brake, that's your body taking care of you. That's stress taking care of you. When you have butterflies in your stomach when you're doing a presentation, like I have right now, that helps me to think more clearly. It gets my synapses going. But stress can also hurt you. When stress is repeated or chronic or piling up, or in 2020 in the face of COVID, where everybody is stressed upon stressed upon stressed, this chronic stress actually stresses your autonomic nervous system, and you can actually become a victim of chronic stress. So some of the symptoms that we're seeing, especially across the country, with not only stress, but also with COVID on top of stress, is we're seeing a lot of insomnia, we're seeing anxiety. We just did a survey here in Indianapolis, and half of our sample, we had like 1,300 people in this survey. Half of our sample had insomnia, and half of our sample had a new mental health symptom. People are feeling keyed up, they're not concentrating, their body's aching, their blood pressure's high. So, you know, stress and trauma stress can be helpful, but stress with trauma and chronic stress can hurt your body. So there are a couple of forms of stress and trauma. Stress and trauma can be historic, primary, and secondary. What is going on with tribal communities can be all three. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I want to acknowledge right off the bat that the term historic trauma came from the work of Braveheart and De Bruyn in 1998. They coined this term when they were trying to get a handle on and figure out what was going on within their tribal communities. So historic trauma is defined as when an entire group of people is affected by trauma because of something done to them by the majority population, which results in structural oppression and behavior changes over time. Another researcher called Sotero defined 3 stages. Stage 1 is when the initial trauma happened. Stage 2 is when people react to the initial trauma. Stage 3 is when generations pass that trauma on. So I acknowledge today not only that this is grounded in the research of Native populations here in this country, but I'm also acknowledging today is the first day at sundown, the first day of Hanukkah. So this is also true for Holocaust survivors. It's also true for Japanese Americans who were interred during World War II. Same thing is true for African Americans. So when we think about adversity, we think of layers of adversity. And if you look at people as trees, and how do we grow healthy people? We grow healthy people the way we grow healthy trees, by healthy roots, healthy soil. When we have adverse collective historical experiences that lead to community or environmental adverse trauma, such as poverty, racism, community violence, lack of educational opportunity, those roots, that person is rooted in lots of trauma already. If that person, when they're a child, then is also experiences adverse experiences such as abuse and neglect and domestic violence and substance abuse in the home, that's already created 3 layers of adversity. That happens quite a bit. But let me just say that while it is important not to stereotype, this doesn't happen to everybody in a group. It can happen, and we have to take a look at it. We have to acknowledge it, because the only way we're going to solve it is by acknowledging it. Next slide, please. So another form of stress that, as folks who work with as workers who work with other folks who need TANF help, for example, we hear their stories. We hear their stories of stress, and we hear their stories of trauma. And especially right now, it's especially horrible what we're hearing. So when people who work with others who have been hurt, that is the helper people can get secondary traumatic stress. And helpers can actually experience emotional stress as if they were actually seeing or hearing it themselves. Now, you might have heard some terms such as compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma. We choose to use secondary traumatic stress because it is inclusive, and we're actually developing measures, more exact measures for this. So when you hear compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma, that actually may make sense to you, but by the same token, as researchers, we want to try to use one term so we can measure this correctly. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide, please. So what's happening in that brain? So remember when I talked about driving down the highway and somebody pulls out in front of you and you slam on your brake? That's a danger stimulus. What happens then is your body secretes chemicals to enact the fight, flight, or freeze scenario, in your body. And that's what actually makes you put your foot on the brake. And it also then makes you sweat and makes your heart race. And if you're anything like me, it makes you curse as well. I don't know. It's part of my fight, flight, or freeze. However, once the danger is over, I go into recovery mode. My heart rate comes back to normal. I become fine again, except, you know, I might be a little angry for the rest of the day because of what happened. But it's important to remember that this is a process, and the process has to be completed each time. So body senses fear or danger, fight, flight, or freeze kicks in, but then you recover. Your body needs to come back to recovery. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is all possible by the magic of your autonomic nervous system, which is always in a tug of war. Your sympathetic nervous system always wants to protect you, and your parasympathetic nervous system always wants you to be chill. So your sympathetic nervous system is putting out cortisol when it needs to, and your parasympathetic nervous system is inhibiting cortisol. Okay? Cortisol is necessary when you need it, but when you have it in your system all the time, it really is not good for your body. It produces high blood pressure and can be part of the stress syndrome that can set you up for diabetes, for example. Next slide, please. Remember I said the cycle always has to come back to recovery? When it doesn't come back to recovery, when you have repeated stress stimuli, your body does not come back to recovery, which means that your body is putting out cortisol when it doesn't necessarily need it. So this is called allostatic load. When you have a heightened allostatic load, when your body never comes back to recovery, there is increased wear and tear on the body because of that cortisol. Next slide, please. So some symptoms that we want you to be looking out for in yourself or in your team even are symptoms of anxiety, fear, worry, isolation, feeling sad, changes in sleep or eating patterns, flares of illness, trouble focusing or intrusive thoughts, or even relational conflicts. Because when we're stressed, we're also on edge. And when we're on edge, we tend to be a little short with people around us. So that can create some relational conflicts. You can see that in your team, or you can see that at home as well. Next slide, please. Some people who have had an enormous amount of stress and trauma actually have a process happening called triggering. Triggering is the split-second decision that your brain makes, the part of the brain is called the amygdala, that your brain makes to keep yourself safe. It thinks you're some trigger, some sensory trigger that reminds your brain of some previous trauma makes your body react as if it's back in the original trauma, and that's called triggering. You could be perfectly safe sitting on your couch watching TV, but your brain thinks it's still being abused, neglected, in a car accident, whatever. So triggering is a learned behavior. It can happen at any time, and it can happen unexpectedly, and it can happen a lot with our clients. So one of the things that happens is when you see somebody who just erupts out of the blue, they might have been triggered. And what you see in your office maybe is people look angry, people lose focus. They might look like their heart rate is increasing, their face starts to get red, their muscles tense, they feel overwhelmed, they feel vulnerable, they feel out of control, and they can actually physically become out of control or even violent. So that's just an important thing for you to recognize. So if somebody comes to the office and you have to deny them benefits, for example, and they erupt in your office, it could be because they have experienced neglect in their life, and they've experienced loss in their life, and they're triggered. So it's possible that when somebody that happens in your office, that they might be triggered. Next slide, please. Symptoms in the team that we see. Increased pressure on the team due to worker absenteeism. People just they get stressed and they don't show up for work, and then the team has to pick up the slack. Increased work conflict, short tempers flaring, withdrawing from colleagues or avoiding stressful or traumatic tasks. Stress, negativity, and fear abound and can spread like poison ivy in your office, seriously. The inability to hear or respond to supervision or support, and low morale. So all of these could be symptoms in your office of secondary traumatic stress. Next slide, please. In organizations, one of the things that we see is changes in work relationships. Like this would be for the entire organization. Trouble with inner team relationships, staff break rules because of apathy, lack of vision for the future, lack of flexibility, a decrease in work output, negative attitudes toward clients, decreased progress toward outcome indicators, turnover, which then increases costs to the agency, increased mental health and other costs to clients, lack of respect for deadlines, negativity, reluctance to change, and the belief that improvement is not possible. So there are symptoms that occur in the person, in the team, and in the organization. So you can pay attention to all three of those areas. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide, please. Resilience is really the idea that people can bounce back from adversity. I'm going to talk a little more about resilience in a minute, but I want to tell you something that is the coolest thing in the whole world, and it's called secondary resilience. Secondary resilience is the sense that you learn from the struggles around you and you see the positive in what's going on around you. So when I work with firefighters or EMTs and I teach them, they're always telling me stories of secondary resilience. They're always telling me stories of people who, when they respond to a horrible accident, they'll tell me stories of the humanity that they see around them. They could be dealing with a horrible accident, but there are all these people around that are helping them. I saw this when I lived in Louisiana when we responded to Hurricane Katrina. There were tons of people that came out of the woodwork to help with the Hurricane Katrina response. So secondary resilience symptoms, if you will, are optimism, hopefulness, gratitude, able to use support around you, and understanding that what's happening is time-bound. Next slide, please. So the dimensions of resilience that we would like to see are folks have a moral compass. And I don't mean morality in any negative way. I mean, they have a sense of duty, right, wrong. They have values that they live by. They have realistic optimism. They have role models that they imitate because those are the people that are resilient around them. They are able to give and get social support. They are able to be mentally and emotionally flexible. They have a spiritual practice. They face their fears and think through them in ways that allow them to see the positive. They engage in physical activities that keep their bodies and their minds healthy. And they have a sense of meaning, purpose, and growth. So that a growth mindset. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at interventions because I know this is why you came. So it's really important to take note here. And, you know, Nicole or Emily, you might want to put this in the box, like total shout out. The most important things here are reflection, self-awareness, optimism, seeking and using support. So these are the key elements of developing resilience, taking care of all of you, your mind, body, and your soul. Next slide, please. So the first place we want you to start is we want you to take your stress thermometer, and we want you to take the stress thermometer and take it to your workplace and initiate this and get people to really talk the language of where are you on your stress thermometer today? And as a supervisor or a manager, I would want to know where my people are on their stress thermometer periodically, because I want to know whether the people that work with me are functioning in the, you know, middle layer there, you know, first or second layers there, where they're functioning, they're active, they're focused, they're working well. I want to know if they're a 6 or above, because that's where I need to intervene. Next slide, please. Oh, and this is in your toolkit. So individual interventions for personal responsibility. This is that individual level. The physical pieces, exercise, eating well, getting enough sleep, taking a walk, things like that. Emotional, learning to reach out to others, particularly supervisors and coworkers. Recognizing the signs of secondary trauma and taking responsibility for your own self-care. Relaxation, guided imagery, taking a vacation when you need one, spending time with family and friends to recharge. And at this point, in a physically distanced way would be best, and with a mask, please. Mental, healthy work-life balance, mindfulness training, being proactive, taking time off when you need it, and using good time management. And spiritual, meditation, prayer, ritual, taking time for reflection, connecting to a larger purpose beyond yourself. Next slide, please. We use the personal responsibility self-care wheel, and we also found this circle of life wheel that seemed to fit pretty nicely. So we just wanted to include that for you for use with your clients. But the self-care wheel is in your packet. I'm not going to go through it because we already gave it to you, and I want to make sure we have enough time. Next slide, please. Thank you. We teach taking 5-minute self-awareness breaks. And what I try to get supervisors to do is to give this as a handout to their workers to put in their cubbies or to put at their workstations to teach them that if they need it, that they should take a 5-minute break. So 5 minutes periodically, notice what's going on around you, be self-aware, feelings, thoughts, behaviors. So it's stop and pay attention, observe and feel what's going on inside and outside of you, and consciously choose a new way of being and doing. So that's just a little, you can copy that and make a little handout, or, put it up as a little in the break room even. Next slide, please. The supervisory responsibilities are really important. So it's important for supervisors to assess the symptoms that we've already talked about. Encouraging self-care, encouraging the use of the EAP if you have an EAP, or other professional assistance. Flexible scheduling if that's at all possible. Encouraging breaks, encouraging vacations. Don't let people not take breaks and vacations. Encouraging weekly check-ins, and this is intentional. Weekly check-ins with the people that you supervise, and weekly self-care sessions if that's possible in your office. Encouraging a team approach to the job, pairing workers in difficult situations, not allowing workers to go it alone, instituting like a self-care buddy system, trying to have some reflective supervision if that's possible. The #1 intervention that helps workers is clinical supervision. By clinical, I don't necessarily mean therapy. I mean, being able to hear them and hear what the issue is that they've been working through. Supervisory support helps with not only with secondary trauma, but also retention. And that's a really important piece in all of these offices. And just remember, supervisors get secondary trauma too, because you're hearing secondhand what your workers are going through. So take care of yourself and discuss your own needs with your manager as well. Next slide, please. Resiliency is there for everyone. This is a resilience wheel. This is things that you can do as an organization or a supervisor to help develop resilience, increasing bonding and connectedness, setting clear and consistent boundaries, teaching life skills if you need to, providing care and support if you need to, setting and communicating high and realistic expectations, and providing opportunities for meaningful participation. Next slide, please. So coping with stress and trauma, and this is a special note for, managers, CEOs, tribal chairs, folks that sort of are at the top of the chain, providing physically and emotionally safe working environments for everybody. The most important aspect of coping with any trauma is receiving social support. Even with COVID, that means that you have to intentionally reach out to your workers to provide support. Sending out weekly coping tips or self-care reminders, little emails. Hey, here's a little self-care tip. Sending a clear message from the executive team, expressing an esprit de corps, support, acknowledgement of how difficult this is right now. Making sure all supervisors and middle managers understand de-escalation techniques with that triggering issue. Setting up sacred, safe space listening times, and using the Vegas rule. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? And
Barb, can I throw
supervisors,
something in right there?
sorry?
Can I throw something in right there? That
Yes,
Vegas
you may.
rule, that Vegas rule, you guys, you know, this really builds off of what Dr. Jeannie was sharing in terms of lifting each other up, being a listening ear, not just for the people we serve, but for each other. And the smaller the community gets, or the tighter knit it gets, that confidentiality becomes even that much more important. When you need a lot of, when you're having a moment and you're having a meltdown, there's nothing better than going outside on the sidewalk and having everybody who sees you say, "Oh, girl, I heard about what you did." Okay, so that piece is a, you know, it's simple, but it's really, really an important and powerful thing to put into our toolkit.
Yeah, for sure. And again, intentionally setting up meetings for listening and support. When I talk in Indianapolis right now, we're talking a lot about racial concerns in addition to COVID. So setting those up as well. Next slide, please. So what can I actually say to my staff? So acknowledging pain and trauma. I hear your pain. I acknowledge it. I know that this has been hard and even traumatic. I see you doing the very best for the families we serve. If you need to talk, I'm here. If you feel you need other help, we can get it to you. And then empathize. I hear your fears. You know, we hear this a lot with COVID. I see what it can do. We are doing everything possible to mitigate these kinds of things. Next slide, please. Organizational responsibility. Leaders set the climate. Be the person you want them to be. Be open and available, supportive, proactive rather than reactive. Be a model. Positive emotional labor, that is showing that you are emotionally available, that you want to serve them because they are your client, you know, your workers are your clients. Open communication, culture of hope, using humor, whimsy. You know, Nicole and I are trying to model some of this humor and whimsy for you. Modeling appropriate supervision at every level. Shared governance, if at all possible. Bottom up or inside out, including workers in decision making. Being open to suggestions and change. Being sensitive to the climate of trauma. And again, remembering that with tribal offices, you have a large percentage of the people that you're working with that not only have, remember the levels of adversity, that not only have historic trauma and the environmental trauma, but they might also have other trauma as well from their families. So being sensitive to that climate. Do not contribute to trauma, by the way. Advocating for mindfulness and forming a sense of community. Next slide, please. Okay, so this was me when I was blonde before my gray hair and 50 pounds ago, because I've been doing Weight Watchers. So if you could wave a magic wand, what would you put in your resilient self-care kit? And Nicole has some ideas to help you.
Okay, Wonder Team. So first of all, take a nice deep breath.
Yeah.
We just gave you a lot of information. And the beautiful thing is sometimes, as my mother used to say before she passed, you know you're living right when you hear the right message more than one time. So as you think about what you heard from Dr. Jeannie, as you think about what Dr. Barb was just sharing with you, take a minute and think for yourself, okay, if I were going to build my own resilience care package, I want you to note down the following and grab that pen and your paper. Note down what 1 or 2 strategies, 1 or 2 tools do I want to use right now just for me. Based on what I've now seen about how stress and triggering can show up in my own life, what 1 or 2 things do I want to do? Then I want you to expand that out. What 1 or 2 things, based on what I've seen and heard today, could I put in place to build more resilience in my team and interrupt those cycles of stress and trauma? Now, this is the biggie. I don't care if you're the ED, the supervisor, the regional manager. I don't care where you sit in this constellation of service and community. I want you to think about, right from where you are, how can I contribute to the whole organization rising in resilience? What's the 1 or 2 things that Dr. Barb shared that I can do? And you may have heard it in Dr. Jeannie's workshop, or you may have heard it earlier this week. Doesn't matter. Put it in your toolkit. We're here to build you up. I don't care where you got that information from, but I want you to feel free to use it to lift yourself up.
And again, we have given you a toolkit. And if you didn't get it for some reason, we're happy to send it to you for sure. I think we can go to the next slide because I think that has some of the prompts on it. Yep.
Just a quick interrupt. I apologize. A quick time check. We were at 1:17, and there were many people who indicated they did not get the toolkit. And so if you could provide your email in the chat, and we will be sure to get you all the toolkit. Thank you.
Yes. So take a minute, note those strategies down, review your notes about what inspired you, what energized you, what solved or soothed the problem, and where can I make the biggest difference? Where can I really focus in? You won't need the toolkit to answer those questions because we're just baking these questions off of what was presented to you today. Okay, so take a second. Julie, how much time do we have left before folks have to go to the closing prayer, or are we already over?
You're not over. We're at 1:18 and we end at 1:30.
Okay, perfect.
So we have about 11, 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So here's what I would like to do. Now that you've had a chance to hear this information, if you could post in the chat, and for everybody that is here, I see you guys placing those emails in the chat for us, and I'm so grateful for that. We are going to make sure that we get you sorted on that. And I take responsibility. I sent it out, but I sent it through the wrong channel to get it to you all. So my apologies if you didn't get it, but we're going to make sure that we get you sorted. What I'd love for you to do is to take another few minutes, just like we did before. We're going to send you into some breakout rooms. You'll be with a couple of people. I want you to do rapid fire, you guys. Give me a little shakeout in the camera. Kind of get those fingers moving. Let me know you're still awake. You can even give me a little shoulder shimmy if you've been with us all day. We're going to send you into these breakout rooms. And I'd love for you to share with your colleagues, remember my Joyabolical plan. I want you all to know that as we continue working in these high stress environments, that you're a part of a network of people building resilience. So we want you to share in these small groups. Just take a minute and share what 1 or 2 things would you like to do that you're going to add to your toolkit starting tomorrow. Even if it's as simple as I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to go for that walk. I heard Sam speaking about that earlier, right? I'm not going to eat bacon every morning, like whatever your deal is, right? However, you're going to build yourself up. So in a second, you're going to see that blue button. I'm going to ask you to smash that blue button. No matter what level you are in the TANF program, jump in a breakout room and share what's going to be your plan and how you can stand with and support someone else. We're only going to have you in here for a few minutes, and then we're going to bring you back so that we can get you situated and ready for the closing prayer. And Julie will close us out. So Steve, if you could go ahead and send them into the breakout rooms. You guys hang in here, share with each other what you're doing, and share how others can support you. Smash that blue breakout room button if you would. And I'll see you when you come back. Thank you so much, Don. All right, Wonder People. Hi, Miss Tammy. I can see you. I love it. Hello, hello. You got your resilience pack ready?
All right, good.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that. All right, Frankiero, love it. Hi, Michaela, welcome back. Welcome back. Listen, part of my resilience pack is just looking at your background. I
Yeah,
love it.
I'm
I'll
loving
take a
that.
beach.
Oh, I
I'll
want
take
to
a
be
beach trip
there.
right now.
Woo.
Excellent,
And
excellent,
I want that
excellent.
Frankie Arrow in the up in the clouds.
Oh, yeah.
Loving that too.
Right.
Love it.
Okay, excellent. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Fantastic to see you. Hey, Rachel. All right, Rachel and team, do it, y'all, with your mask on. Come on. Come on. I got to give y'all a little on that. Love it. Love it. Okay. All right, now. What I'd love to do, we're kind of working with what we have. So what I'd love to do is to have you guys just fill up the chat. Give me your top one, if you have time, top two. What is in your resource care package? What are you going to do? How can we support you? Okay. That's why we're putting it in this community forum. How can we be supportive of you in you maintaining a sense and building resilience and interrupting these cycles of stress and trauma? Let us know what you're going to do. You'll see a link in the chat for the care package that we've been talking about. And we're going to send it to you after, but I know that some of you are very concerned for that. So I want you to have it. And what you will see in there, Dr. Barb and I are listed as a part of your network of resource builders. Okay, so you're listed, we're listed in there. Any questions that you have about the presentation, you can also feel free to email us or put those in the chat and we'll follow up. So with that, I just want to say, sent you some good things that will, and everything that Dr. Barb shared, all of the interventions, the stress thermometer, we've put links to that. The resiliency wheel, we have links to that inside of that care package. So you guys will have access to that as soon as we can get it over to you, or as soon as you hit that link. So what I'd love to do again, thank you, Denise. Yes, walk over lunch and invite staff for a walk and talk. Come on, girl, do it. Weekly check-ins and encourage staff to take breaks away. Veronica, girl, get out of my head. It's dangerous in there. You can get hurt. Love it. Perfect. So you guys fill up that chat.
I'm seeing more music.
Yes, more music. I'm with you,
I'm seeing
Jennifer.
a lot of people that want to take walks. That's a great idea.
So Dr. Barb, let me let you give your parting comments. You guys keep filling up the chat because I want Julie to be able to get you situated for closing prayer. But Dr. Barb, let me go ahead and hand the mic to you. From my heart to yours, everybody. I hope this has been valuable for you. I hope we've given you some tools you can use. We love you. We appreciate what you guys are doing. And yes, I did use the L word, and I know exactly what I'm saying to the people that are making differences on this front line across the country. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Dr. Barb?
And I echo everything that Dr. Nicole just said, Dr. Joy. And I want you to know that I have been honored to spend this hour and a half with you. And please make sure that you realize that I am now part of your network. I am here to help you as well. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart as well. And anything that I can do to help you, your team, or your organization, call on me. I'm here. Thank you. Julie.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hand the mic back to DJ Dr. Nicole because she promised we close out briefly. Before we do the closing prayer, we are going to do a little dance party, right?
All right, you guys, I have literally created a playlist for you. So I'm going to try it again. Let me see what we can do. See if we can.
Chair dancing now. Chair dancing.
Send you out dancing. I'd love to send you out dancing. Here, let me put my microphone.
Okay, y'all get ready in your chair. If you're stiff, kind of get ready.
And let's do it. Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Dr.
See, I
Nicole,
don't want y'all to
thank
get in
you
trouble.
so
Closing prayer
much.
series.
Thank you.
My mother was
Yes,
an
thank
evangelist.
you.
Closing prayer series.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barb and Dr. Nicole. You guys are amazing and awesome. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our participants. You all have been amazing. And for those who did not get the toolkit, we will get you the toolkit. You'll probably get it multiple times now. But we will be sure that you get it at the very multiple times probably. Thank you so much for taking the time. We know that this it's challenging to engage with folks online. It's challenging not to be able to communicate and see one another and hug one another in person. We hope that you are taking away a full cup though, or that we help to fill your cups. The work you're doing is so important and so critical. And we thank you so much for taking the time to time out of your incredibly busy schedules and the critical work that you're doing to spend time with us. We appreciate everything that you're doing. I'd like